first of all, I'm Ogita Austin. I'm part of the team at A15 Productions, and we're doing a documentary to commemorate the 50 years that the University of Nairobi has achieved, the pharmacy school that is. Could you kindly start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name is Tom Menge, a pharmacist by training. Currently, I serve as the head of the Directorate of Health Products and Technologies at the Ministry of Health.
Thank you so much, sir. Which years did you do your pharmacy training, and which memories do you have studying pharmacy back then?
I finished my pharmacy training in 1992. That is several years back. I completed in 1992 and started my internship in 1993. I think the fondest memories of pharmacy is coming together as a group of people who are extremely competitive and still trying to move forward in the competitiveness. I got to know new people, and all of us were coming into a profession that we did not have a very clear understanding of what it was. Way back in 92, I believe most of us used to choose pharmacy based on its competitiveness in the choices of courses that you'd be able to do, and not really because you had a mentor or somebody you're looking up to or somebody who advised you to do pharmacy. Indeed, most of my classmates did pharmacy because they did not want to do medicine, and they had the grades to do it. Yeah, so that is my memory about the choice of pharmacy as a career. And we needed to find out for ourselves what pharmacy is all about. And we were venturing into a field that was not having very many practitioners by the time we joined in 1988 as undergraduates. And finishing, I remember our lecturers used to tell us that go out there and make money. So pharmacy was introduced to us as a commercial profession as opposed to any other form of health profession.
Okay. You served in a hospital pharmacy practice for several years. Could you kindly describe the evolution of the hospital pharmacy practice in the country and any landmarks that you recall?
So I joined Kenyatta National Hospital in 1995 as a pharmacist at that level. And I believe from the time that I joined Kenyatta National Hospital as a pharmacist, our main work was in the area of dispensing. So you'd be assigned a dispensing pharmacy without really a very good description of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Again, at the time that I joined the profession, it was assumed you know what you're doing. I can recall an experience in my internship when I was posted as an intern at Machakos Hospital. That was in 1993. And my experience for internship was a bit unfair because the only thing that happened is that the pharmacist who was there knew that there was an intern coming, and therefore he had opportunity to take his leave. So you do not recall a time where you are handed to responsibilities or you had somebody mentoring you into the profession, because we were very, very few. But through the time that I've been in Kenyatta National Hospital, we were able to move on from a time of dispensing and managing pharmaceutical records to a place where we incorporated the concept of patient care. And therefore we'd join our doctors in ward rounds. And for me, I very particularly remember that that almost did put me into trouble because my head then wondered why I am incorporating myself into ward rounds. What am I trying to show? But we have moved on from having pharmacists in patient ward rounds to a place where we have specialization. And therefore today we have pharmacists who are branching out to various areas of specialization, especially in the space of hospital pharmacy. And especially in hospital pharmacy, we've had most of the courses that have been offered at the University of Nairobi really enhancing more than any other sector hospital pharmacy practice. And therefore, clinical pharmacy has been one of the courses that has been very, very particularly useful for persons who want to enhance their career in hospital pharmacy. And apart from that, we've had other opportunities like in pharmacovigilance. All of those courses have really helped us in that area. But apart from specialization, and I'm glad and proud to say that our designations within the hospital of practice recognize specialization. And therefore, we have our designation showing the type of specialty that you are and its equivalence for our colleagues in medicine and dentistry. And therefore, we are moving now from a place of specialization recognition to practice. And again, I'm proud to say that we've evolved in Kenyatta National Hospital to allow pharmacists then to have practice licenses. That, for me, has been the evolution from dispensing to patient care to specialization and now to practice.
Very nice, very nice. You finished your pharmacy studies at the University of Nairobi. Do you think it adequately prepared you for the hospital pharmacy practice? And if not, what do you think can be done to improve that for upcoming pharmacists?
Well, I don't really blame the training at the University of Nairobi at that time, because and I primarily believe that an undergraduate training prepares you for general practice. It allows you to fit into any sector. We cannot be able to really say that an undergraduate course should prepare you for a certain area of pharmacy practice. However, having said that, being in hospital pharmacy gave a distinct advantage, because unlike all other sectors in pharmacy practice, I think more emphasis is made in making a pharmacist who is ready to deal with patients, as opposed to a pharmacist who, for example, is useful in pharmaceutical manufacturing or any other sector. So hospital pharmacy has got an advantage, because the kind of things that you are taught in your undergraduate does prepare you for that. However, most of the time when you join a hospital, you're expected to be a manager. And that is an aspect that was completely lacking in my training, and you really needed to learn on the job. It also does not anticipate that you are going to be bombarded with medical records and various types of record keeping or systems of accountability. I believe that the training still really focuses on somebody being able to deal with medical conditions and situations and be able to know the medicines that need to be used in a given situation. And yet, when you go out there, the pharmacist is expected to be a manager. The pharmacist is expected to be astute in knowing how to manage inventory. I do not know whether the university really should be able to concentrate in that, but in my current capacity, we've then realized that there is a very important need for us to be able to prepare our people even after they've trained their primary courses on issues of management.
Thank you so much. We can continue from where we stopped. Apart from hospital pharmacy, are there any other pharmacy practice sectors that you've been involved in?
I have had the privilege of working, I believe, for the past 30 years in various sectors within pharmacy. One of the things that I've realized is that the pharmacist is already at a place of advantage, because you can be able to work in many areas. I have been actively in hospital pharmacy practice for close to 20 years of my life. And after that, I transitioned to an opportunity to work within the hospital in a sector that deals mainly with partnerships, infrastructure development, and resource mobilization. That was a very good transition for me, because then I was able to transition to a decision-making position in management within Kenyatta National Hospital. My current assignment, I focus on issues of policy. So I currently head the Directorate of Health Products and Technologies within the Ministry of Health, and that is a singular body that is charged with two main responsibilities, and that is in the area of policy development, in the area of health products and technologies, and specifically pharmacy, and also in capacity building, then the other healthcare workers on issues of management of health products and technologies.
Okay.
Maybe the other role that then I could say is I've also had the privilege of serving in the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency within the board, where we were primarily responsible for restructuring the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority and also putting in the various reforms that we anticipated then could prepare KEMSA for the things ahead.
Yeah, very hefty roles indeed. Could you kindly summarize the key contributions that you had to the growth and development of the pharmacy training and in hospital pharmacy practice and the other sectors that you've been in?
Yeah, for me the biggest contribution that I had in hospital pharmacy practice is to be able to bring the hospital pharmacists together in forming an association that we call the Hospital Pharmacists Association of Kenya. HOPAC has been really instrumental in meeting the needs of hospital pharmacy practitioners, and I believe it has been one of the most successful associations of pharmacists in the country to date. But even in that role, the role has not only been recognized within the country, but we have had opportunity at the International Federation of Pharmacists. We were called very early within the establishment of HOPAC to be able to sort of like set the scene worldwide for the establishment of hospital pharmacy. And therefore, one of the more active sectors within the Federation of International Pharmacies, FIP, has been the hospital pharmacy sector. I'm glad that I was involved in the setting up and the direction on what is expected of a hospital pharmacy practitioner.
That's really inspiring, if I may say so. What has been the impact of the advent of technology on the hospital pharmacy practice, and in you particularly?
We started pharmacy when everything was expected to be manual. Our records were manual, our interactions were manual, the patient records were manual, and indeed there was no reference to any source documents in any other format. Unfortunately, the health sector has been the single sector that has been lowest in adopting technology. And therefore, in many ways, we've been doing a catch-up. However, within the health sector, we are privileged that pharmacists within the healthcare workers have been the greatest adapters of technology. 2 years ago, we were doing our first Kenya National Formulary. And a lot of questions were asked, how will you, where can I get a physical copy? And we actually told people during even the launch that we are providing you a QR code so that you can be able to access the document. And for us, we made it a standard, especially in my directorate, that every single publication we'll make, we will not involve ourselves in printing physical copies, but will allow access. In fact, if you look at one of the documents that's on my desk, those 2 copies you see there are the only physical copies of that booklet. And we're just keeping it here for purposes of reference. But every single document that we have, we either do a temporary QR code at the time of launch, but we also make it available online. So for the source documents, we have adapted technology fully. But I also am aware that within hospital pharmacy, there are very, very few hospitals that are not using electronic methods for either dispensing or for commodity management. And therefore, that has been one big transformation. I'm also glad that there's been a lot of acceptance, especially on the area of using digitization, because we needed to change the laws. And that is why, for example, we have a digital health agency that is able to look at the various documentations that are required and allow the space then for a legal way of allowing digital medical records to be accepted. So that is where we are. The future of hospital pharmacy, it's possible that the human element of doing physical things like dispensing, in many countries have already completely transitioned to the use of machines to be able to do dispensing. We have not reached that place in the country yet, but I think it's just a matter of time. That does not necessarily endanger the pharmacist, but it allows the pharmacist then to think that some of these mundane tasks that we're able to do, we can be able to exercise ourselves in other areas where we're needed.
Yeah, that is really, the future looks bright in that case when you put it that way, because most of us think that computers are out to take people's jobs. How has your training in pharmacy, training and practice in pharmacy impacted the society so far?
I think I have the privilege of being one of the few people that have been a pacemaker in transforming especially hospital pharmacy practice. I've discussed about the privilege that we had on setting up the Hospital Pharmacists Association of Kenya. There has been a reference point for not just our country but many other countries on how it can be done. But we've also looked at spearheading the various transformations that we've had, especially moving a pharmacy from a product-based profession to a service-based profession, where our profession can now be able to be fully involved in practice. We have seen, and I have been involved in the thinking through process for the university for the various specializations as they are needed in hospital. And I've also been involved in teaching. My personal area of study is toxicology, and I'm glad to say that from the time we initiated most of the master's programs, I have been actively involved in teaching toxicology to the master's students.
Interesting. Kindly comment on your national, regional, and international contribution to the pharmacy training and practice, that what you've managed to do thus far.
Again, it will just be a repeat for what I've said previously, but on the local level, we have set up the Hospital Pharmacists Association. That has been able to influence what happens within the region. In my current capacity, I'm glad to say that Kenya has been one of the first countries that has transformed the idea of incorporating products together into the concept of health products and technologies. We have actually been a pace setter for a lot of that. That has been a WHO concept, and I'm really, really glad to say that we are one of the first initiators of that, and we are making progress in that area. And that completely changes policy and how things are done. So for us within a country, we've been able to have the HPT concept not only accepted at national level, but I'm glad to say that all our 47 counties have actually adopted a HPT thought process in how they manage the commodities. That increases the scope of the pharmacist, not just from dealing with medicines, but also all other health products and technologies that they can be consolidated, and we can give leadership to other professions on how to manage the various health products and the technologies that are used to manage those health products. So that has been one area that we've been able to have a change of process, not just in hospital pharmacy, but also in my current assignment as the head of this directorate. And that has transformed to the region because we are giving guidance to the region on various aspects in the East Africa region and also the Africa region. We are called upon very many times to be able not only to share our models for practice, but also to capacitate other countries in that area. My contribution internationally, as I said, we had the privilege of really thinking through the FIP hospital pharmacy chapter and developing it from something that was not there to something that has grown up to be one of the most active sectors in the International Federation of Pharmacists.
Yeah. Thank you so much. What is one thing or one impact you wish to have done or you're trying to do, but you've not yet managed to do so far?
I think I'll sum it as mentorship.
Okay.
I do ask a lot of pharmacists who come to me, what caused you to choose pharmacy as your profession? And I still find that very few people will say it is because of the ethics or the practice or the success of this particular individual. And sometimes it saddens me because you hope somebody would come to me one day and say, it is because of you that I chose pharmacy. I've still not had that privilege of somebody saying that I was the reason why they chose the profession. And that is something I really desire, not only for people who are aspiring to come into the space of pharmacy, but also for the pharmacists themselves. How are we able to mentor somebody to specifically choose, and for this purpose I'll say hospital pharmacy? How can we be able to be the person who influences another to be able to grow? And therefore, as a profession, I believe we've not reached that place where we can call ourselves mentors and influencers. The other area that I would like to really, really grow is how can we be able to grow pharmacists much, much more away from the space of pharmacy, so that in any sector you go, more than any other thing, you can be able to identify, for example, in politics, you've got this number of pharmacists, in top management positions, in the places where decisions are made. I really hope that as the time goes by, we'll have more and more pharmacies in places of influence. So that is something that I'm not so sure within the time that I have to practice pharmacy, I'll be able to do that. But I also pray that I've impacted some people, influenced some people, and that you can grow a very strong body of mentors in the profession.
So, if you retire today, what would you like Dr. Tom Menge to be remembered as or having have done?
So, my life goal is to develop others. And that is what I wish to be remembered. I'd like people to say that the person who helped us to grow and to enter our area of practice is such and such an individual. And therefore, I always like taking people and pharmacists as much as possible under my care and growing them, hopefully, to be better than myself. That is my desire, that I'll have a big group of people who we have actually grown into the sector and who are better practitioners than we were.
That nicely ties in with what you said you've done and you're continuing to do. The second last question. In the next, UON has finished, your University of Nairobi Pharmacy School has just completed 50 years of training. What do you think, what is your vision for the next 50 years of training pharmacy, especially hospital pharmacy?
So we really, and I know this conversation has begun, that pharmacy has grown to a place where we need to be developing professionals for the various sectors. The University of Nairobi, I think, is currently still training a general pharmacist, somebody who has not been differentiated to the other areas. I know there are opportunities for postgraduate training, but I believe we can be able to seriously consider that a lot of the things that we do, we can start influencing people into other areas, or so that we are developing somebody right from their undergraduate to be able to be a differentiated pharmacist who wants to go into one sector or the other. We also need to have an agenda in the space of research. I believe that we've been especially weak. And one of the challenges that I have with my current responsibility is making research products market ready. We have a very, very big gap because we've got a lot of opportunities in the area of traditional medicine, in the area of herbal remedies, but we do not have the ability to translate what we know in research to the market. So we really depend on other markets to be able to help us in that area. I would really wish that a lot of emphasis in the training that is happening to be able to help us to be curious professionals, so that we can be able to develop in the space of research and product development. And then I'm hoping that more and more pharmacists will be able to be differentiated from just people with knowledge to practitioners. There are many areas. There's therapeutics, there's oncology, which you've done extremely well, there's critical care, things that are needed in the space like pharmacogenomics, therapeutic drug monitoring. Those are things that we've not even touched, and yet that is where pharmacy is happening. We have a lot of products that we need to make that are very, very unique for a patient. There are areas like pharmaceutical compounding where we really need to be able to determine that even any medication, we cannot just have a medication that has a dose range. We need to look at you as an individual and say that given your various features that you have in your how your genetic makeup is, then you can be able to tailor this medicine for you. Those are the next frontiers in pharmacy. We cannot be developing generic pharmacists anymore. Let us allow pharmacists, because they're already intelligent, to be universal thinkers, and let us adapt ourselves to where the world is going.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Now, finally, I'd like you to take this opportunity to send a message of congratulations to your fellow alumni in the University of Nairobi Pharmacy School as you celebrate 50 years, this golden jubilee.
So it's amazing that we are 50 years old. 50 years old from the time when the people that have been our influencers, like Professor Gwantai, Professor Kibwage, and so on, people who have taught us and have moved forward. It's 50 years. It shows that they've been in this space for this period of time. For me, for my fellow alumni, I believe it's time for all of us to be at a position where we can allow ourselves to take the mantle, not to be forced into a place of responsibility, but to be able to work with the people who've gone ahead of us and say, hey, it's time for us to also come into the space and be influencers, not just in the space of pharmacy, but also in the space of healthcare as a whole. Most of us pharmacists want to be cocooned into professionals that sort of have a pharmacy impact. But I've learned during this time that I've been here is that we have the knowledge, the abilities, the capacities for entering any field, whether it is production, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is hospital pharmacy practice, and whether it is management, whether it is business. We can be able to excel in any of those fields, and we just need to take up the challenge and run with it. So I wish you well, and congrats, University of Nairobi, for being 50 years old.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Asante sana.
Thank you.